Hello, my name is Ronaldo Smith of the Cumberland Cohort 2026. And this video is my reflection on my semester so far as a principal resident at Benjamin Martin Elementary. At the beginning of the semester, I was focused almost entirely on the roots, learning policies, managing discipline, understanding compliance, and really surviving the daily urgency of school leadership. Like a newly planted tree, my early reflections show a leader primarily concerned with stability, holding the ground, responding to crisis, and learning what it truly means to keep a school safe. One of my earliest reflections centered on the repeated behavioral crisis in our pre-K and kindergarten classes, including situations that required preventative harm holds, which was traumatic for me and the students, right, frankly. At that stage, my leadership was reactive. I was learning policies in real time, navigating exceptional children protections, and emotionally processing the weight of protecting staff and students while feeling constrained by the systems I did not fully yet understand. My focus was survival, keeping the tree standards. Eventually, I did grow in knowledge. I did understand the EC laws. I did understand the 504 processes, and it allowed me to grow in attitude. Finally was able to move from frustration toward intentionality, from reaction toward reflection. By the latter half of my first semester, my reflections show a leader who is no longer holding the ground, but building a trunk, a steadier, stronger, and more capable leader that can support others. This growth is evident in how I navigated increasingly complex leadership moments. Advocating for a class change after evaluating relational damage between a teacher and a student, leading crisis response when a student disclosed suicidal ideation, and then stepping into distributed leadership as my principal went on extended medical leave. These were the moments where I was not simply responding, but hopefully leading with judgment, empathy, and purpose. The progression demonstrates my developing proficiency across multiple North Carolina standards for school executive. One of the ones I think I was able to target was strategic leadership. As the semester progressed, I became more intentional about aligning decisions with long term outcomes, whether advocating for schedule changes, relocating leadership duties during transitions, or prioritizing Elliott compliance under our new district superintendent. I learned to think beyond the immediate issue and towards sustainable systems. Secondly, I think I grew in instructional leadership. My reflections highlight that my work in modeling science instructions and facilitating cross curricular lessons and using data to demonstrate content retention and teacher effectiveness, particularly in our fifth grade, went from me modeling it to actually building the capacity within our teachers to do it for themselves. Third, there was some cultural leadership. My work with restorative practices, crisis response, and staff support during illness and absences allowed me to really listen deeply to our teacher concerns and reflected on an evolving understanding that culture is built through presence, trust, and consistency, and not authority alone. As I go back and look at my weekly narratives, my co-art director and executive coach played a critical role in this growth and really fine-tuning my understanding and how I analyze leadership through people, systems, and the community of my school, of my instructional leadership team, gave me a framework to organize my thinking and then my further actions. The comments of those around me pushed me forward, encouraged me to lean into difficult, crucial conversations, to trust my instincts, and to claim my leadership voice with confidence. By December, the tree was no longer rooted and just standing. It was beginning to bear fruit. As I look forward toward my final semester, the now what becomes clear. My my focus will be on intentional pruning and sustained growth. As I continue refining my ability to delegate, without disengaging, to balance urgency and sustainability, and to move from strong individual leadership towards developing leaders in others. I will deepen my instructional leadership by using data not only to validate success, but to guide targeted coaching. And I will continue strengthening my emotional resilience, recognizing the work of a school executive is demanding, human, but also deeply relational. My goal is to graduate ready to serve, not just as a manager of systems, but as a steward of culture, instruction, and people. This semester taught me that leadership is not about being unshaken by the storms. However, it is about growing roots deep enough to withstand them, a trunk strong enough to support others, and branches generous enough to produce fruit that feeds the entire community. That is the leader I believe my cohort director, my principal supervisor, and my executive coach, they see in me, and they are building me and pruning me and watering my soul to become. Thank you.